Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope everyone out there is having the absolute time of their lives and that you're all doing well. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. There's a link in the description below the video, and without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Some pretty interesting ones today. There's something I've been talking about for a while. I personally have expected or was expecting this to kind of launch all over the place by the time we got to around December. I said this earlier in the year. We've had two factions. No, that's fine. I was gonna say two factions, but it's more of three as far as like news. What it has been revolving around. One has been stable coins. One has been companies buying up huge amounts of crypto within this market. But the third one has to do with certain coins being boring. If you weren't here for that discussion, this all came out of Michael Saylor. I think at this point it must have been last year. Time is completely flying by. Michael Saylor announced how boring Bitcoin was because Bitcoin doesn't do anything. Bitcoin kind of just sits there. The price goes up, the price goes down, but it's not really performing. It's not giving you a return. There's no real yield from simply holding it. And since then, we've seen a number of coins enter the news with new protocols and new other things, and some returning protocols that I wondered where they went because they were so popular a couple of years ago. And this is one that is swinging right back in our direction. This is, I think, going to be very popular. There's a company called Flare. There's a protocol called Flare. There's a thing called Flare. Flare popped up. It must have been 3, 4, 5 years ago. Flare has been here for a while. We spoke about them in like May. There was some kind of a thing and they just really, it's not that they disappeared because I'm certain that people are using them or they love the protocol. And there's always, every time I say in the news, I'm like, we haven't heard from them. There's 5 people in the comment section. You haven't heard about it. I've been using Flare every day. And it's like, okay, well, I'll put it to you this way. The vast majority of people in this market hear about these things and then they just kind of poof, they relatively disappear. Flare is, I think, if they do this correctly, going to become insanely popular. It's just a matter of like doing it. Everyone talks about creating something. If you do it, people will use this protocol. It says Flare CEO, his name is Hugo Filion, has reiterated his ambition to enhance the XRP ecosystem far beyond its current state. He is doubling down on his commitment to unlocking billions in XRP liquidity through DeFi integration. Yes, my friends, that was the big story years ago. When we found out and first started hearing about DeFi, the major story, at least back then, had to do with Ethereum protocols launching, creating, and not only could you stake your Ether within the actual chain to make passive income, people were making like many crypto exchanges and many places to get returns on your money through decentralized finance. This caught on really, really quick. A lot of protocols were giving, 17% returns, 86% returns. And I said in a couple videos, watch out, because those are usually red flags, and many of them were. Many of them were not decentralized at all. People simply began to put their money into these protocols. They saw that they were making some kind of money. They woke up on a Thursday, all that money was gone because these were actual like companies or people sitting at home announcing that they had launched this new thing. They were offering this impossibly high yield, and it was impossible. So we had a couple of instances where these fiends, these scoundrels, had taken 34 million in one go, 87 million in one go. The thing that really made it into the news was that guy, Kevin O'Leary. If you weren't here for that, Kevin O'Leary popped out of nowhere. I love crypto. Crypto's amazing. DeFi's the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Crypto's fantastic. And then one day, one of the protocols that he or his people were using didn't even go belly up. It disappeared. And he lost a huge chunk of change. And then this man went on to the news and was talking about crypto needs regulations. This place is the Wild West. And I was like, So the idea has kind of settled down. It's become more lightly trustworthy. I told you it usually does when crypto exchanges begin to launch things like this because they're regulated and, people really won't put up with the crypto exchange losing their money, what have you, so on and so forth. So Flare, if I can remember correctly, their entire thing was meant to be some kind of a staking protocol for XRP, basically staking it and getting, I think, Flare tokens in return, if I can remember correctly. Now, the big talk of the town has to do with DeFi once again, but in a slightly different manner, whether it be through tokenizing assets or using different protocols to protect another protocol. You get, rewarded for it in this sort of way. We also saw discussions the beginning of this year for Bitcoin, where a lot of, we had 3 proposals, I believe. One was on chain and the other 2 were off, where people were like, directly on Bitcoin, we can make Bitcoin like give a return, make passive income from Bitcoin. The other one that has launched, and I believe Kraken, the crypto exchange, is already using this. Theirs is the one that gives the 1% return as to like really not rock the boat. You're getting money back. You're making passive income from your Bitcoin, but it's not an egregiously large amount that would cause inflation in the other protocol. In a tweet on Thursday, Filian said his team is, and I quote, going to take XRP to new heights, end quote. The statement builds on the company's long-standing mission to transform XRP into a yield-bearing asset, coins that are either pre-mined or do proof of work. They typically, generally don't have any kind of thing that comes after them. So this is why you've seen a number of protocols announcing, hey, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing that, to make their coins essentially more attractive. The attractive coins are the ones that already have the staking. So when you can say, hey, we're giving this protocol staking, you want to own 1,000 XRP, guess what? Not only will the price go up, but there's also a yield for simply holding the coin. On top of that, you want to put your coins into a protocol in DeFi, you're making free money by just holding on to that coin. Free money, air quotes, what have you. He highlighted XRP as the core asset and Flare as the enabling token. Notably, this positions Flare as the missing link, if you will, between XRP and decentralized finance. In August, they're calling the protocol, or the thing is being called Firelight. Not the worst name. Really, we've had some terrible names the last couple of weeks. I don't know what people... It's like names in a hat and they throw stuff. Firelight is not the worst that I've heard. In August, details of Firelight's potential yields came to light. Speaking with Scott Melker, Filian and Centora, CTO Jesus Rodriguez revealed that apparently this new protocol of Firelight, or whatever the fudge this is, could generate annual returns of anywhere from 4 to 7%. That is exceptional. Those numbers are great. I told you Bitcoin staking will take off. When a crypto exchange announces 2 to 3% is a nice, strong, healthy, stable return. If this thing gives an annualized return between 4 to 7%, that's usually how much you can kind of expect from like renting out a property. Remember when I told you before, I know a lot of friends who are really into real estate. And they've been thinking and having discussions about literally foregoing buying property and actually buying crypto instead for protocols that give them these kinds of return. You don't have to pay land fees. You don't have to pay land tax. You don't have to pay HOAs. You don't have to look for someone to live inside of it. Yeah, you don't have to hope that they don't destroy the walls and that they pay their rent on time. There's a bunch of things. We saw that before already recently with that one company announcing they were in total selling $11 billion worth of real estate to buy Bitcoin. I told you before, behind the scenes, a discussion of staking Bitcoin are also really picking up. You essentially, you don't have to work anymore. This is incredible. It even says, for an asset that has historically offered no yield, this represents a breakthrough. Yes, that's incredible. So when this launches, when this happens, when it becomes a thing, apparently they've designed the system to remain non-custodial and decentralized. That's also what we heard about the one through Kraken. That's normally you have to stake your Ether inside the system. It's done for security purposes, what have you. But these are all non-custodial. They basically, you have it in the protocol, but many of them allow you to take your coins out at any time, the same way you would your money from a bank account that's earning interest in the actual bank account. These are going to take off. It's just a matter of how and when. I would assume 2026 is probably going to be like the year of yield. Really, like realistically. If all these mantras, all these ideas, all these predictions of cryptocurrencies going to brand new highs and prices and all these other things, and we have this money flowing into the market and all these companies and institutions and governments are buying all these coins, I think when these protocols launch, that's kind of like the game over factor for anyone who's not in the market. That's when we like really start moving towards $1 million per Bitcoin and that illustrious $1,000 XRP. When you like, this is something so entirely different. And I know you understand, we've been here before, but I don't think you really get it. When you get art, you have to house your art somewhere. When you get real estate, you have to manage your portfolio. There might be a company managing your portfolio, but there are essentially a lot of things that could go awry, what have you. Pokemon cards, like, buying gold. There's a lot that goes into this. When you can just buy crypto at any point and put it into a protocol and make the same amount of money that you would from owning real estate or owning stocks, this is the dividend. Yeah, it becomes very attractive, very, very attractive as an investment for a company, for an investor to want to own. Okay, cool. I'm going to buy 1 million of this. 4 to 7% returns on that million, and that's not even when the coin's price goes even higher as well. It becomes a very big spotlight for the investment. Yeah, that's the Flare is back in the news with Firelight. I do not know. I don't think that this is on Binance or Coinbase. When this is the same exact thing with the Bitcoin and Litecoin staking, like This is going to be the new thing in money. Just I'm letting all of you know. Okie dokie. Let's move on. All right, once again, we're back in that range of topic and discussion. If you weren't here, a number of companies, all the companies who announced they were buying Bitcoin, the companies who announced they were buying Ethereum. We had a couple for XRP. We've gone over this before, but there have been some outliers. A company recently announced their treasury is going to be Chainlink. We've had a couple for Solana. I think 2 for Dogecoin, 1 for Litecoin. There was some other really weird coin, and I was like, what the heck what was that coin? I mean, it was like really, it wasn't even left field. It was like northern sky field. Like it really came out of nowhere. This one we've heard, I believe, once or twice so far. A company by the name of CEA Industries, Inc. has announced the purchase of 38,888 additional Binance coins worth approximately $33 million, raising its total holdings to 388,888 BNB, valued at $330 million US. With this acquisition, the company reinforces its status as the largest corporate holder of Binance Coin. Yeah, I wonder why. Not many companies have been doing this. Binance Coin is a very strong coin, a very strong contender, especially with Binance and all the other things that they're doing. There was something recently online where I think it was Changpeng Zhao, where he was like, yeah, this coin used to be 50 cents. You should have all gotten some. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say any of that, but, it's that kind of thing. So there are very large expectations that in the future, Binance will continue to be the largest crypto exchange. Their volume, the people who are using them. I personally like Binance. I like the way that it looks. I like using them personally more than other places. But yeah, we're seeing I don't want to say the word shift, but we're seeing other companies basically announcing that they're throwing their weight behind different coins and not just Bitcoin and Ethereum. Everyone is allowed to invest in their own way, and that's just how it kind of goes. It says, unlike diversified digital asset strategies, CEA Industries has adopted a single asset strategy focused entirely on Binance Coin. Okay. The company believes this concentration enables it to maximize exposure to BNB's network effects, participate in on-chain yield opportunities, and align its treasury directly with the ecosystem's long-term growth. Yeah, Binance Coin also has a really huge ecosystem when it comes to making yield and using DeFi and doing this and that. Yeah, not too surprising, but still, if the numbers are there, I usually expect to hear a large number of companies announcing nearly exclusively Bitcoin and Ethereum. So this will look insane. This will look absolutely insane if we ever get to a $100,000 Binance coin. Like, this will be like, oh my gosh, they're geniuses. I think it'll be one of those things. They went from 50 cents to over 1,000. So that's already, major news right there. Yeah, everyone. I think that's going to do it for this video. I do hope that you have all enjoyed the video. I hope you all are having a great day. Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do sincerely hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again, every single one of you, for watching, listening, liking, commenting on the video, and supporting the channel in your own way. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.